Okay, well, my name is Mark Healey. I currently live in South London. I first moved to London in 1993 when I went to the University of North London. The reason I came to London was to learn how to run community centres because that's what I was passionate about. Arrived in Holloway Road where I lived for several years, then I moved to Walthamstow, and then to East London, lived in sort of the Leighton area before finally moving to the south of London and living in New Cross Gate at the moment. I guess the reason why I'm being interviewed today is because of my the work I've been doing with 172430 and the No to Hate Crime campaign. Basically in 2009 I decided that there was a decision made by some people within the community that after 10 years they were not going to, that was the last gathering for the anniversaries of the nail bomb attack on Soho. And it seemed to me that the decision had been made by a small group of people without consultation with the families and the wider community who had all been involved in this situation, and I felt quite angry about that. So I decided to do something online. I didn't want to cause a confrontation between the two different groups, but I felt that people had a right to sort of be heard and to say how they felt. So I organised 172430 online, which the dates is 172430 is the dates. It's 17th of April, the 24th of April, and the 30th of April, because a lot of people had forgotten about the three bombs, and were only focusing on the Soho bomb. And the first bomb was in Brixton, which injured about 60 or 70 people. Then the second bomb was in Brick Lane, where 6 people were injured, and then the third bomb was in the Apple Duncan, where 3 people were killed, including 2 gay guys and a woman. The campaign online attracted about 3,000 people and was successful from that point of view, in the sense of it really showed that the community really didn't want to forget what happened and actually wanted to sort of show their support for those involved. And from there we've sort of, that's become the base for what we do, in the sense of we're looking at ways that we can work with the different communities, bring them closer together by holding acts of remembrance, which we did this year in Brixton, Brick Lane and Soho. In Brixton we organised a small vigil in Windrush Square, and we chose Windrush Square because when you're doing these sort of things you need to be sensitive to the people who are involved. So it's not necessarily the greatest idea to go down and actually do it at the bomb site, but to try and find somewhere slightly removed from the bomb site so that those people who want to be involved can be, whereas those that don't want to be involved can carry on with their normal lives. So we chose Windrush Square because of its history with the black community, in the sense of the Windrush was the first ship that brought people over when they settled in the area, and it's recently been refurbished. It's a nice focal point for Brixton, and there's a wonderful tree growing up in the middle of the square, and to me that symbolised sort of life, and it was, in the sense it was bringing people to remember those who were injured, but also to celebrate the hope that we have by coming together and working on projects like this. Brick Lane was also very successful, in the sense that we had probably about 40 people who joined us in Altab Alley Park, and again it's another location which has a history with the local community. It's named after Altab Alley, who was a young guy who was actually beaten up and killed by a group of white guys. So it was a hate-race attack, and we felt that by being there we could connect the two communities, the 3 communities together, and sort of remember the history of what had happened there, and also bring in our own history of what happened later on. Soho, we gathered in St Anne's Gardens, and that was a gathering of about 400 people. Again, it was looking at what did people want to happen. So we liaised with the Reverend David Gilmore and organised for the choir diversity to sing. The family spoke at the gathering, and in a sense by doing that we're helping to keep the spirit of those involved alive. And it's also about how do people engage with those involved, in the sense that it's quite natural as time passes that there are, in the sense of, as people move on, that group gets smaller and smaller, and it's how do you keep the history of what happened alive and encourage new people to engage with those people, so that those people are not left on their own. And so what we've been trying to do is bridge gaps between people, in instance of introduce people to the family so the family can make that connection with new people, and try and make people more comfortable about coming forward and getting involved. Last year there was Ian Bainham was attacked in Trafalgar Square, and 2 weeks later died of his injuries, and it's through the original work that I'd done with the vigils, with the acts of remembrance, that people asked me whether I could organise something in Trafalgar Square. Well, originally we just to organise a small vigil, so I was expecting about 500 people, and we put it on Facebook. Within a couple of days it was 100 people, then 200 people, and then we realised we'd reached about 29,000 people, and it took off from there. In 2 weeks we organised Trafalgar Square, 10,000 people came down and joined us, and it was an amazing night. It was just, mind-blowing in the sense of just to show how a community can come together, how different communities actually, when they're prompted to, can come together, and how we all work together and put us. When we were organising the campaign, we just said to everybody, look, it's really a time to just put down the banners and placards, and show your support for those that have been attacked, and to work together, and all our political differences need to be set to one side. All our baggage needs to just be sort of left there, and we've got 2 weeks, we just need to get on, and we did, and there's some great people involved. We worked with people like Pride London, Pink Punters, Blue Medical provided us with medical support on the night, and I had two expressions, in the sense of there was, oh God, in the sense of, because it was just such a big thing to be organising, but it was, and wow, just that word wow, in the sense of the spirit that was there, in the sense of the connections that people were making, the things that people were going out of the way to do, and how people were just helping out, and I think that inspires me to carry on with what I'm doing, because I know that from every great tragedy there's an opportunity to turn things around and actually make a great good happen, and that's what the acts of remembrance are about. It's about engaging with people, getting people involved, so that they then go on and do better things, and it gives them the confidence to be able to go and do things in their communities as well. There's not a clear strategy, because it's organic. It's in the sense of people bring themselves to these events and engage in the ways that they feel comfortable at, and hopefully as they make those connections we help them build in confidence as well.
And behind every good man there's another good man, isn't there?
Well, that's the idea, in sense of that sort of philosophy of pass it on. I'll mention Ryan Parkins, my partner, because he doesn't like the cameras, but he's always there supporting me, and without his support, I think everyone needs support, and it's really important.
So what did you do in terms of support?
I think the initial build up to the first vigil in Trafalgar Square, it all happened so quickly, and we did so much in 2 weeks. I think it's difficult to actually try and remember what I did less than a year ago. But this year, I've been sending out press releases to various publications, various broadcasters, pubs and clubs around London and the UK, along with a couple of other people, and we've contacted more people than we did last year, and trying to just make people aware of what's happening. At the moment, it looks like, along with an event in Trafalgar Square, there'll be an event happening in Brighton, in Norwich, and in Canada. Actually, I think Canada's the night before. So from 10,000 people in Trafalgar Square, we've reached a hell of a lot more this year, and hopefully
again, keeping that sort of organic theme, where because it's online and on Facebook, anybody can join in. I mean, last year there was a guy who sent in a video of a candle on a windowsill with just silence, and he'd filmed this candle, but he participated in our event through that means, and it was just, and it's finding ways of encouraging other people to do that as well. So it doesn't matter whether you're on your own or a large group of people, or whether you've got other things you're in part of. Anybody can take a moment, light a candle, post that picture as a photo or as a video or as some other link onto our site, and then share being involved in this event. And that's how it sort of spreads the sort of message of hope around the world. Because last year we did get messages of support from South Africa and New Zealand and from across America, and France and Italy, and that was inspiring in itself, to think that that's, what started off as something really small could suddenly sort of spread so quickly to so many people. It's hard keeping up the momentum. It is hard keeping up the momentum, because it does take a fair bit of energy, but at the same time it has a life of its own, in the sense that people this year have been contacting us and asking what are we doing, and we've been sharing information.
So how did you hook up together to do this work?
Well, we were dating. We'd met before, so we were already a new relationship, I'd say, in a way. We've been going out just over 2 years now.
What is your background in any kind of staff work?
No community work background at all. For the last 10 or 15 years, I've worked as a PA to a private doctor. So I think that's maybe why I naturally fall onto the administrative side and get the press releases out and set the spreadsheets up and make sure everything is kind of where it should be. And
you come from South Africa, so when you came here, what did you make of this place, London?
I think when I first came to London 15 years ago, so it would have been early 20s, bright lights, lots of good music. It was just a different place to be, I think, and I settled very easily, and so stayed.
What about the politics of, say, South Africa and London?
It's quite a difficult one, because people always tend to assume that South Africa, because of racial issues and past history, is less tolerant, but I don't think it's any less tolerant than anywhere else in the world, and possibly maybe exactly the opposite. I think it's learned very well from its mistakes, and I think possibly a few steps ahead of a lot of places. Still has its problems, but you just have to look at some of the problems in the United Kingdom, some of the problems in the USA. I don't think anywhere deals with differences particularly well, but I do think South Africa is doing a very good job and has learnt from what's happened in the past, and there's I know my sister's daughters don't refer to friends by colour. They don't refer to anybody by colour, not negatively or positively. I mean, colour's not an issue. You don't say Janine, your black friend, or where over here people still do. If you, I don't know. It's I think South Africa's taking quicker steps than a lot of other places, because maybe they've had first-hand experience of the problems it does cause. It is a difficult one.